Well, this is great fun to have Peggy Gavin here. She's been on Dog Talk and Kitties too twice before. Once with a wonderful book that she wrote called The Cat Men of Gotham, a nonfiction book about great, interesting people who've had cats in New York City, as well as The Bravest Pets of Gotham, which was full of horses and dogs and cats. But now Peggy is doing something in real life that I think is very bold of you, Peggy. The Cats About Town. Did you get the idea from your book, The Brave Men of Gotham? The idea that there's areas, districts, zones of New York that are very cat centric?
Oh, sure. Originally, I was going to just do it at all different animals. I got my license, my tour guide license in February of 2020, which was exactly 1 month between COVID lockdown, before COVID
Great.
lockdown.
That was
And
great.
so I wasn't able to do anything. Really, just about a year ago, I partnered up with Dan Ramada, who does the Bodega cats. And he said, "You've been thinking about doing these cat tours." And I'm like, "I've been also thinking about it." And so we just clicked and came together. Within a week, we had the name of the website, then the company name, we had the website up, we had the reservations going, and within 2 weeks, we were booked. So,
That's pretty cool. Cats
yeah,
About Town is a wonderful name.
because
I mean,
it's CAT, Cats About
oh
Town.
my goodness. And I didn't even think about it. It's
Yeah,
something
yeah.
so snappy and snazzy and sounds like something from the speakeasy days. Was very easy for you to pick your areas. You have Brooklyn Heights, the Lower East Side, and the Financial District. Is that because you have specific historical stories about those areas?
Yeah, so that was my first thing that I did when we decided to set up the company. I went through all my stories in my Cat Men of Gotham book and also on my Hatching Cat NYC website. And I just put everything together. I said, where do I have clusters of stories that are within a walking, within like a 2 mile-ish radius, right? And so those three areas, I just happen to have a lot. I have stories all over Manhattan, Bronx, Staten Island, but they're more spread out. So these three areas, I was able to get about a dozen cat stories for each area that were fairly close together. So that's how that worked out.
That's pretty cool. When the people sign up for these 2 hour tours, do they ask you all kinds of questions you couldn't possibly know the answer to? I'm just guessing. I figured
Yeah,
they come up with anything they can because people are curious monkeys.
yeah, not really, because you know what? The tours are so thorough because we don't just talk about the cat stories. We get into all the history. It's little mini history lessons interrupted by fun cat stories. So,
Oh,
so we cover a lot. We talk about buildings and architecture and histories of the land and so on and so forth. So it's an interesting way to learn some history while also getting to hear some really fun cat stories.
and walking around town is a really fun thing to do. People love to go on art gallery tours to a series of art galleries. This is open air. Where is there an interesting building and a story about how it came to be? When you got
Right.
the tour guide license, did you already have this in mind? This very thing?
No, my original thing I was going to do just an animal, all kinds of animal tour. Like I was actually going to do Gramercy Park area because I had a lot of stories about lions and cows and all these other kinds of animals. When Dan called me up and said, "What about just doing all cats?" and I was like, "Yeah, yeah, definitely, let's do that." So that's how it came together.
And what has the response been like? Have people found you?
Yeah, we are getting found. This summer's been a little bit tricky because the weather, we've had to cancel a few tours because of the extreme heat
Yes.
and or the rain. So we're hoping in the fall the weather, Mother Nature is a little bit kinder to us. But we've gotten a lot of media coverage and just people on the streets. When we do these tours, I have my ears, or I have different kinds of ears, and I'm wearing like I wear this whole cat like shirt or cat dress or something. And I give everybody on the tour cat ears,
Oh,
like
what a
little
great.
cat headbands. And most of the people wear them, and some of them light up like little LED lights. So we get a lot of people looking at us and asking and wanting to take our picture and
Oh,
just being like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know this existed. Only in New York would you find this." So we definitely draw attention when we do our tours.
and that brings you more customers for the next time.
Yeah, yeah.
That it's absolutely wonderful how word of mouth passes. You
Hmm.
and Dan reached out to me, but otherwise I wouldn't have known about it. Have you taken ads? How do you reach? I'm think tourists would be a huge part of your business.
Yes, Dan is very web savvy. He works actually for a website company, so he manages our website. He's very active with his Bodega cats on Instagram. So he's got a huge social media
Oh, I
presence.
see.
And so he uses his social media presence to push ads and things like that. So that's really how we got everything started. And then NBC picked
Bodega
us
cat.
up, and
Oh,
People
they
magazine picked us
did.
up, and
Oh,
Folders picked us up. So it just
that's great.
snowballed.
That's huge. Once
Yeah.
you're in People magazine, that's the kind of the pinnacle of getting
Yeah.
attention. What is Bodega Cats?
Bodega Tats is basically Dan goes around and takes pictures of all these cats that live in the bodegas, like these little grocery store types of places. But he's also got a movement to try to make it so that these bodega cats can get the health care they need and make sure that they remain able to live in the bodegas, because the city is sometimes the inspectors will come to these stores and they'll turn a blind eye to the cat and let it go, but sometimes they're like, no, that cat's got to go. And so it's a movement to try to allow these cats, because they do a phenomenal job. They keep all the vermin away, and people just love them, and it draws business, draws customers. So they really are a positive, have a positive impact on the stores, and that's what Dan through Bodega Cats is trying to promote.
Have you tried to do any tour that includes links between all the bodegas? Or are they too far apart?
Again, they're so spread out all over the city. One of our tours, the financial district tour, does go to there's a bodega cat on Maiden Lane. And so sometimes they'll stop by and see if he's in the window. Bowery tour, the Lower East Side tour, there's a cat that lives in a pet shop. There's not a bodega, but
Oh,
so we'll go by there. Her name is Maya, and we'll see if we can see Maya in the window. In Brooklyn Heights, there is a cat who lives in he sits outside in like a window cage kind of thing, and he just watches all the traffic people go by.
like a
And
cat.
yeah, and he's got a little sign, and he's, hi, please respect my privacy, whatever. And so we will stop and say hi to him. There's also another cat that lives in the church there in Brooklyn Heights. If we're lucky, sometimes he's out walking in the garden. So we're always looking to see what kind of cats we can find. So
Trouble that all the people on the tour probably have cats at home. They're not cat deprived, and yet they're thrilled to be able to see it
yes.
in a
Yeah,
window
I know, right?
on
It's
a
crazy.
sidewalk. Oh my God, this is so great. Do you visit any of those enclaves in Brooklyn where people have set up refuges for
The
cats?
Tara, like the trap and release and neuter.
Yeah, house,
We don't do that, because again, that's not,
not
we
historic.
concentrate more on the history and things like that.
Have you tried at all to get involved with any schools for when the school season is on? Seems like it for kids.
Yeah. I had a man approach me from a school up in the upper, I'm going to say the Upper East Side, and he wanted to do something up there. But again, I was like, let me see if I have to see if I have enough content. And if I only have 5 stories, but they're spread out over a huge amount of
It's not
land,
work.
one is way down on the East River and the other's by Central Park. You
Yeah.
can't have people walk that far.
Yeah. No, it has to be a short and cheerful, easy
Yeah.
on the feet. Well, I
Yeah.
think it's wonderful that you're doing this. Cats About Town. That's what people do. They go to the website Cats About Town, and you have a choice of those three areas, Brooklyn Heights,
Right.
Lower East Side, and the financial district. Or if you are of a mood, you can book your own private tour, and Peggy will pull together something
Yeah.
uniquely just for you. Peggy, I
Yeah.
think it's great that you're taking your literary skills and taking them to the street. I
Taking
think
them to the streets.
taking them to the street, and I hope lots of people will have a chance to enjoy it. Thank you for your
All
innovation
right.
and have a
Thank you so
wonderful
much.
time. Take
All
care.
righty. All righty. Good
Bye-bye.
night.